Hello, and welcome to this foster care online training webinar brought to you by the Foster Care Institute, Visitations and Foster Care. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, a foster care trainer, author, speaker, and most importantly, an adoptive and foster parent myself. Our goal of this webinar is to increase your understanding of what visitations are in foster care and how they help all involved, how they are helpful for the child in foster care, how they are helpful for the birth parents and the biological family members, and how they are helpful for the foster parent. We're going to increase your awareness of what a visitation is and help you discover strategies designed to make visitations as positive as possible for every single person involved in the child's case, for the child itself, as positive as possible for the foster parents, and as positive as possible for the birth parents. Now, we all know that when a child is first placed into a foster care home, it is a time of tremendous anxiety. There's anxiety on the part of the child, there is anxiety upon the part of the birth parents, and there is certainly anxiety upon the part of the foster parent. It can be a time of great excitement for the foster parent. These foster parents have been waiting for it. If you are a foster parent, you've been waiting for your next placement. This is why you do it. This is why you care for children in need. And when the child comes to your home, it is a time of excitement because all the training has finally come to a fulfillment, and now you're taking care of a child in your home. Now, sure, you have questions. How long will the child be in our home? Why is a child in foster care to begin with? How old is the child? What has happened to the child? Does the child have special needs? Is a child behind in school? So many questions that foster parents have regarding the child. At the same time, the child has questions as well. How long will I be here? Why am I here? Will I ever see my mommy and daddy again? Is it my fault? Did I do something wrong? Do my parents no longer love me? These are very real questions that they have, and they have concerns. They are tremendously scared about being in your home. Make no mistake, it is a very, very frightening time for the child. Now, you can provide tremendous stability, security. You've given wonderful, nutritious meals. You give them fantastic opportunities. You're giving them a warm house with comfortable clothes and bed. And of course, you're providing love for that child. But what foster parents many times fail to realize is this. At the end of the day, you are not their mommy. You are not their daddy. And your home, as however wonderful as it may be, it's not their home. So they want to go back to their mommy and their daddy. They want to go back to that environment that may have been abusive to them, that may have been neglectful to them. Those people who may have abandoned them. That is their norm. That is their mother and their father. So when they are placed in your home, those first few days, nights, those first few weeks are times of anxieties, of fears, and of questions. It is a scary time for the child. Visitations help the child in a number of areas. But first, let's look at what a visitation is. A visitation are those scheduled face-to-face meetings between the child in foster care and his biological parent or his family members. Perhaps his grandparents, his aunt and uncles may attend, maybe some cousins, maybe some siblings, they may attend as well. I have been to many visitations where grandparents have shown up, even friends of the family sometimes have come. Now, these visitations, you make no mistake, these visitations are very, very important. They are essential. In fact, they are considered to be the main factor by many foster care experts and caseworkers and social workers, main factor in bringing reunification between the child and the parents. And we all know that the end goal for foster parenting is reunification. Visitations can be held in a number of different locations. Now, generally, visitations are held in central and neutral locations. These may include the agency or the foster care office. Now, for the first few weeks and months, generally, visitations are held in an agency or the foster care office. For many birth parents and for many of the children involved, these agencies and these foster care offices may be very threatening, unwelcoming, and uncomfortable places to hold a visitation because they are a reminder of the situation. When a visitation is held at a foster care office or agency, it may remind the birth parents of the poor choices they've made. It may remind the child of a very difficult time in their life. So sometimes visitations are not very welcoming, if you will, for the birth parent. The birth parent does not feel comfortable there, does not feel welcome there, and may even feel judged there. As the reunification process is taking place, as the parent is working hard on their parenting skills and working hard on their case plan, and reunification looks more and more likely, then visitations may be held at a birth family home, and we will look at that later on more in detail. Sometimes visitations are held in a park. Many times they may be held in a church, perhaps at a local restaurant, or other public locations such as a town library, maybe even a school counselor's office. There's many different places where visitations can be held at. So exactly what is the purpose of a visitation? Well, visitations allow the caseworker of the child the opportunity to assess, to monitor, to note, to observe the relationship between the child and his birth parents or family members. Now, during this visitation, caseworkers are able to better determine how the parents are progressing in their case plan. Have they been working hard on their parenting skills and the things they needed in their case plan to get the child back for reunification? So it allows the caseworker to sit back, perhaps to take notes, perhaps to write it down on a iPad or a computer, whatever it may be, but it gives them the opportunity to assess the relationship between the child and the parent. Visitations also allow the opportunity for the birth parents to put into practice those important parenting skills that they have been working on, and allows the caseworker to also observe and assess how those parenting skills are going on. Are there positive things being said by the birth parents? Are the birth parents encouraging the child in a positive note? The parenting skills in effect? How is all that going on? This allows the caseworker to notice it, to study it, to observe it, to take note on it, and determine how close reunification may be coming. Now, supervised family visitations are those type of visitations where the birth parents have shown the caseworker that they are working hard on their case plan, and reunification may be coming closer. So these supervised family visitations include a social worker or staff member attending during a family visit. Generally, they're held at an agency or an office, and as we noted earlier, for many birth parents, this might be a time of tremendous anxiety on the part of the birth parent. They simply do not feel comfortable, if you will, at the foster care agency or the office. But during those supervised family visitations, the supervisor takes notes and observes the improvements by the birth families and looks for other signs. Again, are there positive words of encouragement being said? How does the child interacting with the parent and the parent with the child? So it's an excellent time for the caseworkers to observe and see how are things going on. Now, as a foster parent myself, I always want to know, how is the birth parent doing with their parenting? How are they doing in their case plan? Visitations, those supervised visitations, allow the caseworker the opportunity to note that. Sometimes caseworkers allow the child and the birth parents to have a visitation at what is known as a safe haven. A visitation may occur at a church or a faith-based organization set up in something known as a safe haven. The child from foster care, and their birth parents hold a visitation at the church or faith-based organization and accompanied by a volunteer. Now, this is how it works. Volunteers from a church or a faith-based organization will be trained by caseworkers or by child welfare agencies trained to monitor what happens in a visitation, to record and observe what happens, and to train to make sure the child is being kept safe. It looks something like this. Let me give you an example of the safe havens that I've worked with. On many Saturday mornings, I will drop off one of my children from foster care at one of our local churches, which has been designated as a safe haven. I'll meet with a volunteer, I will sign paperwork, and I will deliver the child there, and I will tell the child goodbye, I love you, hugs all around, and then I will go shopping as a foster parent. I may go out to breakfast with my wife, I may go to the public library, I may run some errands, whatever it may be. While I'm gone, the birth parent will then show up and will meet with the trained volunteers, and then they will have a normal visitation. Now, for many birth parents, and for the children as well, this safe haven environment is a much more welcoming environment, a much more warmer environment, a much more friendlier environment, if you will. Because again, as noted earlier, those child welfare agencies, those foster care offices may be threatening for the birth parent. So if they have it in a safe haven, it is a neutral and safe location for all involved. Now, as the parents have been working hard on their case plan, and they've been able to demonstrate that during these supervised visitations, the caseworker may agree to what is known as an overnight visitation. These occur when reunification is closer to happening. Again, reunification is happening. It's closer to happening because the birth parents have been able to demonstrate through their parenting skills and their interaction with the child that they are working hard on their case plan, and reunification is likely to happen. So the child will spend the night with the birth parents or family members. Now, why is this important? Well, this overnight visitation allows the birth parents and the biological family members to show that the parenting skills that they have been learning and have been taught can be implemented in their own home and over an extended period of time, over a 24-hour period, if you will. Now, some visitations are held over the phone. These phone calls can be supervised or unsupervised. The foster parent may monitor the conversation through a speakerphone if they so wish. Monitoring this phone call allows the foster parent to make sure that the phone call between the child and the birth parent is one that is appropriate. Monitoring the phone call allows the foster parents to make sure that there are no false accusations or false promises are said, that there's no belittlement of from the birth parent to the child. Finally, we have a new kind of visitation, and that is the visitation of the 21st century. One that is done through social media, through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, through Skype, and many other platforms of social media. These can be very, very positive. The child can remain in contact with their birth parents, their biological family members. Maybe they've been split up with siblings, maybe some of their friends from their town, maybe even former foster parents. Social media contact, whether it's Skype or Instagram or Facebook, whatever it may be, allows a child to interact with those important people in their life and keep important relationships established. At the same time, they can be dangerous. It is very difficult for a foster parent. It is very difficult for a caseworker to monitor what is going on between a visitation via social media. Indeed, birth parents can reach out to their child from foster care, their birth child, on an unknown time. Maybe they are contacting the child through Facebook or Skype at 2 a.m. in the morning, at 4 a.m. in the morning. Maybe there are false promises being made. Again, it is very hard to monitor what is going on through a social media visitation. Now, to be sure, there are many, many positive outcomes from visitations. To begin with, the foster child's visit with his biological family members allows him the opportunity to meet with his birth parents and hopefully reduce his sense of abandonment by them. Remember, when he's first placed in your home, he has those questions. Will I ever see my birth parents again, my mommy and dad again? Did I do something wrong? Do they no longer love me? Am I on my own? When they meet with their birth parents during a visitation, that sense of abandonment is often reduced. At the same time, a child's sense of self-worth and importance will also be bolstered as he feels reassured by his birth parents that they continue to love him, they continue to care for him, that they continue to be a family. Something he is very likely dealing with internally. That child in your home is struggling internally with doubt, with uncertainty, with confusion, with sense of abandonment. When he meets with his birth parents at a visitation, and those birth parents reassure him that they, yes, continue to love him, well, many times that self-doubt, that struggle will disappear. Again, the child is full of anxiety. He is full of confusion, and it is weighing him down with trauma. When he's able to express these feelings, these concerns, these questions to his birth parents and family members, and they reassure him, well, that allows a child to continue on that emotional path of healing. More importantly, the birth parents can also reassure their child that he is safe, that he's in a good home, your home. When a birth parent tells a child that, you know what, son, daughter, you're going to be okay. This foster family, they care for you. They're good people. It's a good home. I'm glad you're there with them. That helps a child feel a heck of a lot better, and healing continues to take place. Now, those children who visit with their birth parents on a regular and consistent basis, well, they are less likely to exhibit poor behavior problems, both in your home and in the school environment. Their level of anxiety has decreased because of the visitations, and as a result, they are better adjusted to placement in your home. Now, we know from some of the other online training webinars that children in foster care truly do struggle in school academically and with behaviors. They're either lashing out in school or they're withdrawing in school. During visitation process, during positive and healthy visitations, well, that behavior problem in school and in your home will likely decrease. Now, there are indeed many challenges to visitations as well. Challenges visitations may bring include the heart-wrenching experience for the child in foster care as he waits, and he waits at that visitation for his birth mother, for his birth father, for his mommy and daddy, and they never show up. Sadly, I have returned to the Child Welfare Agency office to pick up my child from foster care at a visitation, and I find the child looking like that. The picture you see in front of you, looking out the window with tears streaming in their eyes because their parents did not come. That leaves a child with a heck of a lot of questions. Where are my mommy and daddy? Why did they not show? Why didn't they come? What's wrong with me? Do they still love me? It is heart-wrenching for the child when the parents don't show up. Furthermore, foster child may meet with their parents, yet have the birth parents speak negatively about the foster parents. Now, we know that sometimes birth parents or biological family members, they may not have accepted the fact that they have made poor choices. They may not understand fully or refuse to acknowledge why their child's placed in foster care, and they may thrust that blame upon the foster parents. So during a visitation, there is the opportunity sometimes for the birth parents to say negative things about the foster parent. That is very destructive for the child. Sometimes the child may struggle with feelings of loyalty to both you and his birth parents, as his birth parents say negative things about the foster parents. A child who has come to love you as a foster parent, who has come to feel comfortable in your home, who has come to trust their foster parents, and has even come to enjoy living in the foster parent's home. Well, when the birth parents say negative things about the foster parents, the child will struggle with feelings of loyalty. They don't want to betray their birth parents, but they also don't want to betray their foster parents as well. It's a difficult time. The children may be given false hope, false promises from their family members about possible reunification. I have heard as a foster parent time and time again a child coming home from a visitation to my home and making the statement, Mr. John, my mommy and daddy say I'm going home next week. I'm going home next week, or I'll be home by my birthday, or I'll be home with them at Christmas time. Now, we may know that that is false, but that child has been given that false hope, and that can be a time of betrayal, a time of anxiety, a time of trauma as well, when they find out the truth. Misbehavior may also increase in the foster home as well as a school after a visitation. As a child struggles to understand their parents' behavior or even the lack of behavior, misbehavior may increase in the home and at school. Finally, if you as a foster parent are seeing that there have been negative experiences at a visitation, if there have been those challenges, you as a foster parent need to inform your caseworker immediately of any negative experiences or concerns you may have from a visitation. So how do we prepare for visitation? How do we make the visitation as positive as possible for everybody involved? Well, to begin with, as a foster parent, you need to ensure that the child in your home during a visitation looks great. Well-groomed appearance is so important. There is the old phrase, you can't judge a book by looking at its cover, but we know that's what we do. We do judge people by their appearance. So when a child shows up to a visitation looking dirty, looking unkept, with clothes dirty, clothes ripped, whatever it may be, hair uncombed, whatever it may be, that is a sign to the birth parents that their child is not being cared for, that their child is not being looked after. As a foster parent, you do not want to give that impression. You want to make sure that your child looks great. Their hair is combed. Their clothes are cleaned. Their face and hands are clean, not full of dirt. You want to make sure your child looks their best because it shows the birth parents this, that you as a foster parent care. That you care enough about the child's appearance, that you care enough about the child's condition. Now, personally, when we have visitations in our own home, my wife loves to dress the kids up in what we call their Sunday best. For the girls, they put on the prettiest dresses and shoes. For the boys, some great looking slacks and a nice collared shirt, all dressed up, all ironed, belt on. The kids look great. Again, it is a sign to the birth parents that you as a foster parent care about the child. Now you see there the next word, healthy. And what I mean by that is this. If a child in foster care in your home has a cough or runny nose, hey, give them a little bit of medicine. Give them some cough medicine or cold medicine to clear up that cough, to clear up that runny nose, because nothing is going to be worse than a hacking cough or a constantly running nose during a visitation. It's another sign that the child is in an unhealthy environment. Be on time, be on time, be on time for that visitation. You may know the saying that I know, that I live by. If you are early, you're on time. If you're on time, well, then you're late. And if you're late, that's unexcusable. As a foster parent, you want to make sure that you are there on time and, in fact, be there early for a visitation. Even though the birth parents may show up late every single time, you be on time. It shows the birth parent this, that you are taking this seriously, that this is important to you, and that you will be there on time. They will have questions. The birth parents will have questions for you. They have concerns for you. Well, be compassionate with them. Be patient. Be positive. Be a positive role model. Be an example to these birth parents. When possible, try to involve yourself in meeting the birth parents on a regular basis at the visitation, whether it's before or after or both. They will have questions for you. They want to know, is their child being taken care of? How is the child doing in school? Is their child developing new interests or hobbies? How is the child eating well, sleeping well? All those questions they want to know. Answer those questions and concerns openly, with kindness, with patience, with understanding. If the birth parents should be angry or upset towards you or make false accusations against you, hey, Meet that with kindness and patience and understanding. Do not respond in a negative fashion towards them. Send them pictures. Send those birth parents pictures of your foster child along with him to the visitations for those family members to keep. Birthday parties, school events, basketball game, baseball game, band competition, art contests, whatever it may be. Christmas, Halloween, Easter, Thanksgiving. Send pictures of those events that the birth parents are missing out on. Put them in an envelope, put them in a folder, whatever it may be. Provide school records and grades and ongoing updates of the child's education. Show the birth parents that the child in your home is succeeding in school. And that success may look like this. Perhaps that child came to your home and could not read or write his name, and they're in second or third grade. Well, any type of success they've had, whether they got a 50%, 60%, 70%, 100% on their spelling quiz, whatever it may be, they meet their AR goals, they're doing well in their math, their social studies, whatever it may be. Hey, give those reports, give those grades, give those quizzes and tests, put them in a folder, and allow the birth parents to have that. Allow them to see that their child is succeeding in your home. If you feel safe and you feel okay about it, encourage the parents to call your home maybe once a week, or allow your foster child to call the birth parents and set up that phone conversation. When your child in foster care sees you as the foster parent working alongside his own family members during a visitation or co-parenting with them, I can promise you this: his emotional well-being will be strengthened as well. Visitations are so essential towards the well-being of the child, of the birth parents. It brings reunification closer. It allows the birth parents to practice those lessons they have been learning and those skills they've been learning. And it allows a child to be reassured that he has not been abandoned and that he is still a vital member of his mommy and daddy's life. Now, for much more information, go to my website, drjohndegarmofostercare.com. You'll find information about visitations and so much more there. Follow me on Twitter and at Facebook. You'll find a whole variety of foster care resources, videos, articles on my social media sites. And of course, email me. Drop me an email, drjohndegarmo@gmail.com, if you have questions about this or anything else related to foster care. And again, you'll find so much more in the book, The Foster Parenting Manual, A Practical Guide to Creating a Loving, Safe, and Stable Home. And I've written several other books as well. My friend, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you do. I want to thank you for preparing your child for the best visitation possible, for getting them well groomed, for being there on time, for sharing pictures. I want to thank you for being an open and honest ear and communicating with the birth parents. I want to thank you for caring for a child in need. It is not always easy. It is not always easy. In fact, it may be the hardest thing that you do. But make no mistake, you are truly changing the life of a child in need. You are providing hope, you're providing healing, and you're providing love for a child who may never have had it. So as a foster parent myself, I want to thank you for what you do. I'm Dr. John DeGarmo of the Foster Care Institute. Thank you so much.